welcome to December's Art Forum. Today, I'm proud to introduce Mitsumasa Kadota. He was born in Shizuoka Prefecture in 1980. A distinguished abstract painter, the 23rd Holbein Scholarship student. He is exploring expression by replacing the fluctuations of his own memories and emotions with the colors and brushes, strokes of paintings. It has received widespread evaluation both in Japan and overseas. And at the end of 2019, Cy Tombley's nephew, Cody Franchetti, acknowledged the work as complex colors look integrated. And with the support of MoMA, he held a large-scale solo exhibition at the New York Lincoln Center, where everything was sold out. His concept is that there's no concept, that's common sense. So, Kadota-san, please.
Thank you, Kamara-san, for introduction. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak at Asia Society. And good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I am Kadota. My name is Kadota. I am an artist. I am shy, and I'm not very good at English. I have little bit ADHD. Sometimes my voice shaking, and I'm restless sometimes. I'm sorry and at the time, but I'm going to be reading from script today, but I'll do my best. I want to tell you about my story. Please listen to my talk patiently, and please enjoy having breakfast. Okay, let's start. Let's begin with my childhood. I was born Shizuoka Prefecture in Japan. Shizuoka is famous for having Mount Fuji. I was born in a mountain town called Haruno, living in a city called Iwata, and then raised a town by the sea called Fukuroi at my grandparents' house. The house doesn't exist anymore. But this is a photo I took when I went to Shizuoka recently. This is me as a child. Since I was young, I always loved to draw. This is a dinosaur I made when I was in first grade. The title is Kadomitsaurus, then drawing of colorful dinosaur. Kadomitsu is a combination of my first name, Mitsumasa, and last name, Kadota. This picture, the head represents paternal role with hat and necktie for work, and the stomach represents a maternal role with eggs and children. It's a dinosaur that steps over the gender binary and one of my favorite pieces. This picture expresses the idea of an ideal family, projected it onto myself, and then compressed it into a drawing. Looking back, I think this might be the beginning of my journey to explore, to sides of human nature that everybody has, masculine and feminine, strength and weakness, happiness and sadness, and so on, which resides in our mind. Throughout my school days, I continued to draw and create things. I went to an ordinary high school that didn't specialize in art, but I couldn't give up on my passion. So I went to an art school in Tokyo for university. When I started to seriously study art, I realized that creating art requires a strong sense of self-identity. And this led to a little bit of a problem for me. At the time, I didn't have a firm grasp on my identity. I was still confused about the contrasting duality and complexity of human nature. In one word, I was having an identity crisis. So when I thought about what to do, I made this piece during my sophomore year. The painting was inspired by the primary colors. I added zippers to each side of the frames, making it possible to separate and connect the paintings any way I like. Through this format, I wanted to communicate the perplexing feelings I was experiencing at the time. I was searching for an answer, but at the time, trying to contain my confusion. I think this work is metaphor that implies that it's okay to change things any way I like. It's also okay to zip up and unify the work in different ways. The zipper was a symbol for possibility to change and to come up with infinite ways of fusing the ideas. The frame became a symbol for content and unity of my inner chaos and diverse values in the society. This is a photo of what it looks like when you take it apart. You will later see how this work evolved into my recent series. I think these pieces were made around the same time as the one before. At university, I learned about the basic concept and techniques through art history. I studied figure and ground in painting and how this compositional relationship can produce contradictions in space. Finding this fascinating, I decided to progress onto the conceptual art. This piece is I made around graduation called Fire Inside My Heart. And is actually a painting of Sparkler. During this time, I was still exploring my self-identity and the heaviness of my existence. I think I was trying to contain my confusion, almost hiding my true self. In order to do so, I took the color out of everyday snapshots, making it as minimal as possible. I created line paintings on divided panels. You can say that This is my non-color or white period. Now, moving on to my postwar school days. After graduated from university in 2005, two things happened. The first was when one of the most influential museums in Japan, the Seizon Museum of Modern Art, took notice of my work and gave me an opportunity for a solo show at a gallery in Tokyo. This is a photo of my debut solo exhibition titled Trickster, which took place at the Seizon Museum of Modern Art Gallery in Tokyo. I painted a piece with the soak stain technique, playing with blood colors and lines. The second opportunity was more of a trip, but it was being able to travel to New York. At the time, New York was one of the cities I wanted to visit the most. I was surprised to see the diversity of the people, and yet how the city provided a feeling of unity. I was heavily inspired by all the museums and galleries I visited. While I was there, I also devised a plan for an upcoming exhibition in Japan. From around this time, I began to paint by taking the fading feelings, sensations, and memories within me and converting them into color and brushstroke on the canvas. For example, this piece is the main piece from one of the exhibitions, which named Crossing. As you can see, I began to expose and hide feelings and sensations at the same time. The titles such as Mental Pollution, The Collapsing Amidaha, Dual Personality, and Camouflage gave a hint of my inner thoughts and feelings. Now, to recent events and works. Probably my biggest break took place almost 5 years ago. In 2017, when the Seizon Museum of Modern Art opened a new gallery space, I received the opportunity to have a show there. My work seemed to the confusing for Japanese audience. So up until this time, I hadn't gained much recognition outside of the Seizon Museum of Modern Art. However, the show, an art collector from New York, took notice of my work. He introduced me and my work to his friend, Cody Franchetti, the nephew of Saitambri. Both of them continued to support my work from that point onwards. And in 2019, they planned an exhibition for me in New York. It was a large-scale project in collaboration with the Lincoln Center, Young Patrons, and the junior associates of the MoMA, and it took place in the Stanley H. Kaplan penthouse at the Lincoln Center. These are photos I took at the Lincoln Center at the time. As you can see, we built walls in the empty space, and I showed 12 of my pieces, which I had shipped over. These are photos of the exhibition. The title for this show was Kadota. By focusing my family name and removing my first name, I wanted to proclaim my true self. I am insecure and standing on one leg, trying to balance myself, and that's me. I also wanted to express my hope for new beginnings through the separation of the two names. The pieces I exhibited were purchased by art collectors in New York. It was a great evening with a lively crowd. These are the people who supported my exhibition: Cody, Justin, Jonathan, Matt, and Ren, as well as many other people. Thank you so much. That's a background on how I was able to have an exhibition in New York. During this time, I got a strong sense that collectors from New York are really able to evaluate and select pieces with their own eyes. Seeing this helped me understand that there is a culture of individualism in New York that also accepts diversity and different values. Cody described my work at the time, saying, Kadota's pieces are polychromatic, but come together as a single chromatic concept. This was something that I had struggled to put into words myself. In this moment, I felt that my unstable yet original style, which was often misunderstood by people, truly gained meaning. I use layers and layers of bright colors, which describe the webs of conflicts that were revealed and hidden within the four frames of a canvas. As Cody described, I've been thinking about how we can view conflicting, diverse perspectives as in fact a unified whole, and how this view may contain possibilities for transforming our society in new ways. I hope to expand these values and perspectives through my work. In addition, 5 years ago, I started a series of works where I took my unfinished pieces from storage and paint over them, imbuing them with new value and meaning. For these pieces, I used a paint called iridescence, which was recently developed by the Japanese art supply manufacturer Holbein. The color changes depending on the angle you look from, and there's something about the saturation that makes it look old-fashioned even though it's brand new. I thought this duality was really unique, and I used it as inspiration for my process. I tend to give those pieces titles related to ancient Japanese history and temples. As you can tell from visiting my website, I've released about 1,500 pieces up to today. I include released pieces, drawings, and experiments. I probably have over 10,000. My body of work contains many different styles and serve as a mark of my own self-exploration. I also feel like I'm burying different things into this massive heap of ideas. Around 2015, I was represented by a gallery for the first time. The gallery is called M Gallery in Tochigi Prefecture, and it's still the main gallery where I showed my work today. M Gallery is a contemporary art gallery housed in a converted Japanese storehouse and is one of my favorite spaces. This photo is from when I had my first solo exhibition there. Today, I'm also represented by Tezukayama Gallery in Osaka. I have planned to show my new pieces at both Tezukayama Gallery and M Gallery next year. So if you have the opportunity, I would love for you to come visit. This year, I had 3 big shows, 1 2 artist show, and 2 solo shows. This is a photo from a recent exhibition at the ANA Intercontinental Hotel Tokyo. It was a project by Art Platform, an organization led by Noriko Kashiwagi-san, who is in the audience today. I showed my work alongside my peer, Makita-san, who spoke at the Asia Society recently. I had a social at M Gallery. This is a group of pieces called Tamentai. It means polyhedron. As you can see, they can be shown as one piece or removed from their frames and shown separately as well. I wanted to create something that functioned both as a fragment and as a whole. You might remember my zipper painting from my university days. This is how it evolved. And finally, this is an exhibition entitled Imaginary at Maruedo Japan Gallery in Tokyo, which was held last month. These are my latest work I showcased called Manifold. As you can see, each painting is a single work on its own. But in fact, these works can be connected as one large pieces like this. The size in this state is 350 centimeters square, big size. Through these works, I intended to imply that the unidirectionality of what many people see is not always true and correct. And also, I wanted to suggest that what see to be disjoint at first glance is connected in reality. By presenting my work in this way, my intention is to express how values and existence that may not be fully appreciated today can still be spread into the world. To conclude, I believe that there are many subjective experiences that still go unseen. And because we aren't properly sharing these experiences with each other, this has led to a variety of social problems today. I think that it's a job of an artist to use their own style of expression to explore their identity, so that they can offer the world a new and significant perspectives, no matter how small. I see this is the role I must fill as a painter named Kadota. That's the end of my talk. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Kadota-san. And before moving to some questions from the floor, I have several questions to you. Okay. You created your own painting technique or style, but do you have any? Who is your favorite artist, or which artists do you respect?
Okay. Thank you for question, Kamara-san. I was influenced by 3 artists. I'm sorry, I can't compare them. One person is Jackson Pollock, and the other is Barnett Newman. And last one, Mark Roscoe. Yeah, they are very famous abstract painter, Postwar. I think they are symbol of the beginning of today, the era. When I was an art student, I really impressed their style of painting. Their expressions are different, but I think they have something in common. I guess it's duality, multiplicity, or contradiction within human nature or the society. Their painting always seems to be in conflict. I feel they are suffering or struggles as a painter that behind them. They still influenced my work. The important thing is they probed to this world the beauty of their difficult work. That's why I like art. Art is changing. And one person. One person is Japanese artist. He is one of my abstract teacher. His name is Kenichi Wada. 和田健一さんという方です。He passed away a few years ago, but I think he was a person who taught me how to become a painter. I wouldn't be here without him. He was a great person, and his work is so nice. If you have a chance, please show it.
Thank you. I believe you would become such a great artist in the near future.
Yes.
Okay, the next question is, you had a very big solo exhibition in New York. I'm curious about what kind of reaction you have received from the audience.
Audience, yeah. Of course, I have big feedbacks. This is this is a focus of attention on my work. Purchased by Japanese collectors and overseas collectors. My works are almost sold. This is big feedback. But the regrettable things was that I couldn't go abroad in COVID-19. I want to try overseas art scene after COVID-19. Thank you.
Last question is,
okay.
What do you think of a possibility of the Japanese contemporary artists, or what do they need to do to get more attention from the world art scene?
World art scene. This is an important question. I think Japan has a lot of potential for art. What I need is, this is my opinion, we need to have confidence for ourselves. Also, Japanese tend to think same way. When one person succeeds, we choose to take the same or similar road. Of course, this is not wrong, but I should look out and widen our talking ourselves. We have to be unique. We have to have confidence to search for our best answer, our most interesting and our own unique expression. This is what's lacking in Japanese art scene. This is my opinion, and I believe this will be stepping stone for Japan to combine our value to the world. I noticed after New York exhibition that New York collectors almost influence position to New York art scene. Perhaps that's because buying an art piece is directly linked to recognizing the value of artists. I think this is important. I think that the act of buying an artwork is directly related to the person's value. I hope that the sense of facing art and buying art will increase among Japanese people. We have to be unique, and Japanese need to have our own ideas. And a little bit, okay? And my expect from Japanese art industry is, and my hope for gallery is, I think artists and galleries should raise both recognition as professional. I think we have to aim for artists to be able to live there with their work. To that end, I think the gallery should more consider specific financial support if they really think the artist has a future. And my hope for museum is, I hope more opportunity to introduce artists, because there are so many interesting unknown artists in Japan. There are various artists in Japan. I would be happy if there are more exhibitions that would introduce the value of Japan overseas. This is my hope. I think we Japanese have to build mechanism of strong relationship among artists, collectors, galleries, and museums. And I think we Japanese have to more love to art and think more deep. This is my most important things.
Now I'd like to move to some questions from the floor.
My name is Takagi Daikoku. I'm an artist, and I have so good relationship with Kadota. I have been see Kadota's pieces so far sometimes, and I feel always that I saw Kadota pieces, and I feel always something strongest and also vibration and for beats, and on the upside, and I feel also something weakness or fragile. And so I would like to know your technique in paintings. And so how did you create, or how did you use your technique in paintings?
I am using variety tools and way to paint my work, and use a lot of acrylic paints. Today's style of my painting is very thick painting of paints. It means layers and layers. Because I paint on the canvas while mixing paints. And sometimes my paintings is so heavy. It's 50 kilogram, and the big size is over 3 meters. But I didn't tell you how to paint it because I want you to imagine how to paint it. If I tell you how to paint it, you will stop thinking, and you can't help having only unidirectionally thinking. I don't express my painting techniques. I express my feeling and my thinking, my beings. The important thing is I want to think about why I express it this way. I have always had many opportunities to think about preconceptions since I was little. Preconceptions are sometimes very important, but sometimes it will have to be careful. I have a favorite word. To see it is to close your eyes. This word was learned from Mr. Mimura of M Gallery. I felt very important things from this word. So I want you to think and feel for yourself, because that's we artists do. We try to think, explore, and search for an answer. This is my concept of my work. And I think this is art communication. How are you feel and think is important. I think so. Thank you for question.
Thank you so much. And Kadota-san, first and foremost, congratulations for all the amazing work that you've done to date, and very excited for everything going forward. And we've talked about this a lot since your show in New York, but how do you feel like you were influenced or changed by your trip to New York as an artist?
Okay. Moment. Thank you. Great question. More than anything, New York impacted the mindset I bring to my work. My trip to New York made me think about importance of diversity and the importance of individuality, and pursuing your own creativity. Both an artist and as part of Japanese society, I want to help grow this value in my country by continuing to make art that is uniquely my own. However, that trip also made me reflect upon the virtues of Japan. I think Japan has a lot of very good traditional values. In Japan, people's hospitality, considerate, and humble. Those values are immensely important as an artist. In my new work, I want to draw on both these traditional values and new perspective that I gained in New York. These values may feel disparate, and I also believe there are a lot of parallels, and the combination can help me make my best work.
Hi, my name is Noriko Kashiwagi, and congratulations, Kadota-san, for the speech. And I just wanted to thank you for showing some pictures and introducing, or I should say, mentioning the show that we had at ANA Intercontinental Tokyo. I do provide venue for young artists or upcoming artists at ANA, and Kadota-san participated in our show 6 months ago or so, for 3 months. But anyway, I know that titles are very important for you. Can you tell me what Manifold actually stands for? And maybe give us a little bit of a background, how you name Manifold for the speech and for your last exhibition.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for question. Manifold is mathematical word. It means collection of points to form certain kind of set. Actually, I don't know well about the theory of manifold, but I found this word very interesting. I felt manifold is like a very difficult word or theory. However, I used some of my imagination to interpret as today's diversity and individualism. When I was a child, I liked mathematics and I loved science. I remember I wanted to be scientist, but now I am an artist. Being an artist and scientist, they seem very different. However, I think we keep exploring something. We search for an answer for the truth. Maybe that's the reason why I found this word very interesting.
And I hope you will continue success in your coming story exhibitions next year. And thank you very much, Kadota-san. Let's give him a big applause.